Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of the Blacklist Season 10, Episode 9. Now, I know that this looks like the same office that we have
Oh
been in
boy.
all this time, but this is actually the case. We built another office. We're doing this video from that other office, but a select few of you are actually seeing the video of us from our real office, and nobody
Okay.
will ever know which is which.
Except Harold, who's going to be really, really mad.
I had so much fun with this episode. I hope a lot of other people out there feel like it really justified kind of the slow build that we've been on for a little while.
Oh, this episode was so good. It was a 10 out of 10. I am really sad to lose Wujing. I mean, you guys know if you've been watching these videos a long time that I'm a big fan. I really like the character of Wujing. I really like the actor Chin Han. I'm going to miss him on the show.
Yeah.
But wow, what an end to it all. This episode, oh my goodness, 10 out of 10 all the way.
Important lesson here, guys. Don't ever pick up another man's hat. This is clearly
Ooh.
what happens to you. But okay, we are going to get into what Reddington did, Cooper's reaction to what Reddington did. There's a lot of different components here, there's a lot of theories, but hit that subscribe button. You guys know we are here every week to
Yep.
talk about the Blacklist. We will have a preview as well later this week for what is coming up in episode 10, the great mystery of the abyss of the show.
Yeah, I mean, where's it going to go from here? We'll have all that information here at the channel, so hit that subscribe button. We're also covering Ted Lasso, Succession, Yellow Jackets. There's all kinds of good stuff going on here. And also follow us over on Instagram. It was a really fun
Yeah.
weekend. Went to the Butterfly Conservatory, went to Burger She Wrote, had the best burger of my life. There's all kinds of fun pictures up over there. So head over there and hit that follow button.
Okay, this is the sort of thing here is that nobody wants to sit here and watch me be a pompous you know what to do my ticker tape parade for being right on calling this second task force
Oh,
thing. But
you were right.
see,
That's a W you need to take
okay,
and be proud, and you wear that
okay.
W.
I'm very I'm very awkward, everybody. I don't take praise well. So this is the
That
real.
was such a good call, Matt. No, it really was.
Okay, here's the funniest thing about it is that sometimes in some of these videos I just say things because they're ridiculous, and I was just thinking at the time, what would be the craziest thing that Reddington could be building? The idea of him building another task force. It just seemed so insane, and yet like just insane enough that it might work. But the despite all of this happening and it actually being canon for the show, there is still this part of me that is just like, how in the world did you do this? And like the amount of time it seems like it takes the Property Brothers just as much time to like renovate like one house. You build a whole freaking task force.
No, they did a really good job explaining like how far back this has been going on. Like he's been building this second post office for a while now. I mean, he really had a deep plan on this. And, it while you guessed that there was a second post office, I did not guess sort of the way that it was going through. I mean, we at the first like 10 minutes we sort of had the whole setup of what the task force thought was going on. And I mean, like, it felt kind of obvious. I mean, after they had brought the troll farmer out of Panabaker's office,
Yeah.
Wrestler said, he turned to Demba and he's like, "Are we really doing this?" And I kind of wish that they had left that line out for the people who maybe didn't hear your theory or sort of like what it gave away a little bit too much. If they had just taken that line out, I think there would have been even more people that had that huge surprise of like, what is going on? Because unfortunately, they've made the task force a little bit bumbling throughout a couple of the seasons now. We can
Yeah.
all just say that straight out. So the idea that, the troll farmer would get this paperclip, that he would leave the file just so that he would get this paperclip, it's
Yeah.
all kind of like, that could actually happen. I mean, it was a little obvious, but they've done some things where I'm like, really, guys, come on.
I wouldn't. I mean, I hate to say it, but I wouldn't have questioned it all that much because they've set up Bo Chang to be a blacklister, right? He's on the blacklist, and so
Yep.
with that, in mind. He's got to be a capable enough criminal to know how to escape some sort of facility. Like I could have bought all of that. But yeah, mostly because the task force are kind of dum dums. But we'll have a lot to talk about with that over the course of this episode. The thing that really struck me sort of watching all of this is just how many ways it could have gone wrong. And Reddington is not always the sort that's going to put a lot of his trust in other people. But I think the biggest part of this that could be easily overlooked is that he turned the troll farmer over to the task force in season 3. He went to prison for years. There was not any sort of incentive that he had to ultimately work with Reddington again, other than just he got like a full healthy dose of the Spader charm, but like there was no guarantee.
I would have really liked to have seen that conversation. Like, we saw a little bit of that flashback where
Yeah.
Reddington was sitting with him and he was kind of like, oh man, like, I can't even believe that I'm here, that you even want to work with me. Like, after, I went to jail, like, clearly I didn't do a very good job. And Reddington's kind of like, well, we're going to talk about that and forgive and forget. I would have loved to have seen how he explained that to him in a way where he was like, accepted.
It's you have to be like giving him like an island's worth of money or like unlimited resources or something. But good on you, Reddington. You're able to win the troll farmer back to your side. You were able to fix everything.
Yeah. And it also kind of like brought back to that conversation that he was having with the whole, when everything had happened and they're in the other post office and, we had Reddington giving this speech of like, yeah, that whole there's no honor among thieves. And he's kind of like, I don't believe that to be true. I think that there is. And I think that the people that do believe in that, they're the people that I would hand over. Okay, well, you handed over the troll farmer. So, and now you've brought him back in. It's kind of like a little bit of a contradiction.
Okay, this is what the writers did for Spader in this episode. They went to like a kitchen supply store. They got him an apron. They got him a chef hat. They got him a spatula. Spader was just cooking throughout
Ooh,
this
yes.
episode. He had so many good speeches. The whole explanation he gives of the plan once we finally are at his new makeshift post office where he sort of gets the task force ready because the Wujing is gonna show up because the troll farmer has given them all of this information. And at this point, I'm sitting here being like, okay, Reddington said that this plan was gonna be executed in the next few days. Like I was assuming we were at sort of the end game for this, but I thought even in that moment that Wu Jing was still going to find a way to sort of trip things up, that something was going to be completely unexpected. I just didn't expect that to be what was the unexpected reveal.
No, I actually thought that Reddington might have been working with the task force to bring him in. I mean, there was a part of me that was kind of like, Reddington's gonna have to find a way to have Wujing dead. Like, it doesn't make sense for him to be like, well, Wujing has all this information, so let's just let him go back to jail and tell everybody everything he knows. That's a bad plan. But I did think that he was gonna be working with the task force to some degree at this sort of makeshift post office to be able to get that sort of death that he needed with Wu Jing. I didn't expect him to mess over the whole task force as badly as he did, because it does sort of end up in this situation where we have Harold, after all of this, pick up the phone. He's so mad he
Yeah,
can't even speak. I mean, like, I absolutely understand it. He has left Harold hanging in the wind in a way that even he was like, I can't clean this up. Like, I can't clean this up. You've left some dead bodies here at the post
yeah.
office. You've erased all of your files about yourself connected to this whole task force, which was obviously Reddington's plan from the get-go. As soon as he found out that Wu Jing had that list, I'm sure he was like, I got to make sure I don't exist with them anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, how does Harold explain that? He can't. Like, it's beyond just we're a bumbling task force. It's just complete incompetence. You've been taken over by Reddington and you've been played in such a way that you can't come back from. Like, there's always been a give and a take with Harold and Reddington.
Yeah.
Back and forth, back and forth. They each get a little, get a little. But this was just, it was, I don't know how they come back from it. And I mean, even Reddington said that at the end where he was like, I get it. You're going to have to think about whether or not you can continue. And me too, which I was just like, and you too. You got everything you wanted. That's like no, you can't break up with me. I break up with you. Like that kind of feeling. But this is going to be a hard take here, but I don't know how Harold forgives him and moves forward in this show without looking like a chump. Like there has to be something more. And I think that something more is going to be Agnes, but moving forward, working, how does he move forward and not look like a chump?
Reddington, I think, is going to have to offer him something on the shiniest of silver platters, where he's going to have to appeal to the hard-nosed government agent that is Harold Cooper and sort of be like, here you go. I am giving you Big Bad Marty on here, take Big Bad Marty. I don't know why his name is Marty. Just roll with it here. But he's going to have to give him some criminals who are just like so dangerous, so nefarious to really justify continuing to work with them. And the plan, it's going to have to actually go according to plan. Not once, not twice, but like multiple times to make Cooper start to feel like, okay, he's not going to, play us for a fool on the level in which he did, because this is, craziest as it may seem. We've talked about the the task force with the Benny Hill music and just like flailing around, but I don't blame them in this instance for being played, because this is like, we talked about this earlier this season with, our old pal VESCO, the
Mm-hmm.
double cross, where it's sort of like he's already doing this big twist. So why would he then just go ahead and do another twist on top of it? Like, I don't blame them for not seeing this coming.
Everybody put on your tinfoil
All right,
hat.
all right, all right.
You just said that Reddington's going to have to give them Big Bad Marty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He has to give them number 2 on the list.
Oh boy.
Whoever number 2 is, that's right underneath Liz.
Yeah.
It has to be somebody who carries that much weight. It has to be somebody huge. Otherwise, I'm going to have a really hard time believing it. If we're just going into the next episode, and we'll talk about more about this in the preview, and Harold and Reddington are like, oh, we'll just have a little talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's all move forward. Nah, no, you can't do that. No, this was such a huge betrayal for what happened with Cooper. Like, I just don't. He's not gonna. If he can't. I'm already getting flustered.
Okay.
You can't just do that and roll over it like that.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting sort of turning point in the show, because as crazy as it may seem, we just got rid of Wujing, who has been the big bad for this whole part of the season. We're not even at the halfway point yet of season 10. So there's obviously got to be a lot of different things that are put together that are unraveled. Giving Cooper number 2 could be still out there as a really good idea. Like, there is still kind of a big, somewhat hanging Chad out there. And this is the bearded Reddington mystery from the premiere. We see in the opening minutes, Aram sees a guy with, James Spader's like hiatus beard going on. There's the explosion. Like, Reddington's never really acknowledged, hey, I shaved, I grew the beard out. I know some of this sounds ridiculous, but it's like, why did he not really acknowledge Aram when Aram saw him?
Because he doesn't know who he is. That's why. That's why. I don't think that was actually Reddington. It was really strange. And we talked a little bit about this in the premiere video. You see Aram being like, hi, Mr. Reddington, hello. And he looks right at Aram like he doesn't know him. He's just kind of like, okay, and gets into the car. And I was just like, that is really weird. Like, I don't know if he's trying to pretend like he doesn't know him because he's busy doing what he's doing with his building and everything else, but it looked like he didn't know him.
Does everybody remember the episode The Cyranoid from a couple years
Oh no.
ago?
Oh,
Oh,
everybody remembers that. We get comments in the comments about that every single week
we
about that.
we at least had like a 6-week period where there was some sort of comment about how like Reddington was really a Cyranoid of the real Reddington,
And
or the
Liz and we still are getting comments about that.
I am now opening up the
Oh
floodgates. I have
no.
like cranked the valve. It's just all like pouring in, but it's still something worth thinking about at this point because there is a larger end game. I don't know if Reddington is ever actually going to be done until like every single person on this blacklist is completely behind bars. If that is even his real end game, because we still don't even know that.
Yeah, like this actually felt like this could have been a series finale. Him erasing himself from the task force, them pulling it up and having Reddington like nothing there,
Yeah.
nothing there, nothing there. I actually felt my heart kind of like cry a little bit where I was just like, oh, ow, like what? No, like I don't like this at all. But the idea of it's like it never happened. He needed to be with the task force to protect Liz. He did what he needed to do, and now he's in the wind and he's gone and like it never happened. I was just like, "Oh, that gave me chills. It could have really been the end." And that would have made sense too with Cooper, who would have been at a point where he's like, "I can't move past this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to move past this."
There are a couple of other things in this episode that just they brought me either great joy or great just like Wujing's final scene. How abrupt this was, and how I know a lot of people have been sort of being like, where's my awesome Red with his instincts and him just getting the job done. Like just the way this plays out. I want to know if Reddington was just like, I'm gonna put this hat here, and the moment I see Wujing pick up this hat, it's just gonna be like, boom, over, done.
Beautifully done. I was really happy that they didn't go with there's going to be a big speech, a big back and forth. I mean, we still got Reddington's speech in the post office, but it wasn't to Wu Jing. No, that was exactly, I think, the way that we all would want to see that happen, where it's just like, I have my chance. I'm going to just take my chance and go right away. He's not going to have spent all this money and all this time to be like, let me have my big monologue now. Mwahaha, this is why I'm doing no.
Yeah,
Just oh, I see him, he's done.
I know he called Wujing a pest earlier this season, but I think he was at least threatened enough by him that he understood that he couldn't leave anything to chance in this moment. It's like, okay, he's finally got him where he wants him. His team is not going to expect it. He can just make sure this happens and then come out waving his white handkerchief in the air and then partaking in all of his grandeur.
This episode was so good. I mean, I have no complaints about anything about this episode. And it's been a long time since I've had an
I know.
episode where I'm like, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but there was nothing. This was really, really well done. This feels like Blacklist season 1, season 2, where things were like really just firing on all cylinders all the way through. It felt like old Reddington was back, where he's just like, nope, I'm going to deal with things as I need them to be dealt with. I'm going to get rid of Wujing the minute that I have, I'm not going to be messing around with it. The minute that I see him, he's done. I'm going to, hire everybody else that's in this room because I need to continue to sort of insulate myself with other people. I'm going to get myself and all my information out of being with the task force and the FBI, because clearly that was a weak spot for me. And if Wu Jing could figure it out, other people are going to be able to figure it out. And he's probably told enough people that I'm going to be running around for the rest of my life telling the same story where I'm like, oh, to be a master criminal, I have to have these types of ties to FBI and whoever, the best criminals he doesn't want to keep giving that speech. He's given it a couple times this season. Now there's nothing there. He really is in like the sweet spot that he needed to be in.
How mad is Cooper going to be? I don't even know if he's thought about this yet, but about the fact that clearly Reddington had told a number of people what like the general floor plan of the task force is at this
I
point.
know.
So like Rogelio, that builder dude we saw not that long ago, like there's a number of them. I'm just so glad that I got to see another scene with Panda Baker talking here all about this. I don't know if we can trust this troll farm.
All
I think
right.
I'm starting to sound like Sandy the squirrel from
I know.
SpongeBob in addition to doing Panda Baker. But
She was great.
this episode, it gave you enough nostalgia. It really moved the story forward in a really big way. Like,
But where does it go from here? I mean, that's really kind of the problem. You just touched on something,
yeah,
is that not only does Reddington know where the real post office is, and he always has,
yeah.
but so does all of these other people that he just hired, right in that moment. There is a lot of people that know where the actual post office is. So where does the task force go from there? The whole post office is exposed. He's erased from it. Harold is mad at him. What's going on for the second half of the season?
For every big bad, there is a bigger bad. And
Number two.
Number two, that is right. Neville Townsend is rising from the grave. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just trolling. This is where.
Matt, no.
This is where I'm just putting out something to be ridiculous again. This is not going to come true. This is just sort of like my.
You never know. You were right about the post office.
Maybe I'll be right about after screaming that the real Katerina Rostova is still out there for like years on end.
Number two.
We will see, but okay, we will be back with the preview. We hope you guys are around to check that out. We will be in our real office for that, so don't worry for those of you who've been watching us from our fake office. But all right, we'll hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. We will see you here next time.